welcome to episode 2 of Craic on the Coast. I'm Michael here with my co-host Sean, bringing you another episode where we celebrate Irish culture, history, and all the goings-ons on here on the South Shore. How you doing, Sean?
Not too bad. It's fun time of year, as my wife always jokes. She likes to say it's getting to be Irish Christmas.
There you go.
So it's time to get ready and see what's happening in March.
What did you think of episode 1? Did you learn anything?
I learned how to speak a little bit louder into the mic and, slow down, as my wife always tells me. But yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
I sat down and listened to the show after I came out, and I don't do this stuff. Unlike our guest, Steve Lindsay, I'm not used to listening to myself. And I said to my wife in the car, I'm like, wow, I really have a thick Boston accent. I did not realize that. So that always learning about yourself. So, but no, March is packed. That's a big thing. What we're going to go through on this episode today is just going through kind of like a rundown of everything that you can come across on the South Shore, where you can go to have a good time, where you can go to learn a couple things and support your local Irish organizations, dancers, musicians, everything like that. So,
yeah, big part of this, I always look back, history teacher, so I tie things in, St. Patrick's Day fun built around, industrialization and people getting together, getting out of work, and that's the perfect time as now. It's a great distraction, especially with, the world the way it is at times, and what better way than just putting the green on and having a great time for the month of March.
There you go. And we're not just to be talking about events, but like I stated before, we have a guest in the booth with us today, Steve Lindsay of the Lindsays, here to chat about the Irish music scene on the South Shore, where he'll be playing this month, and maybe how things have evolved over the years with regards to Irish music here on the South Shore.
How are you doing?
Good. Thanks, Steve.
Nice to meet you, lads, again.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into, basically what's going on in the month of March, but why don't we get a little swift introduction of you?
Well, my name's Stephen Lindsay. I've been down on the South Shore for over 20 years, but I did live in Boston. I did the whole gamut. Oh yeah, Newton, Alston, Brighton, Somerville, Medford, Plymouth. So, anyway, yeah, so I've been around the scene on the South Shore, but still keeping ties between Boston and the Cape.
Sure.
And getting, there's such a great, vibrant music scene in Boston anyway. And I'm lucky enough to get, to play with some of the young, hot trad players that are coming out. And we've had our own kind of music band going on down the South Shore for 20 years, different lineups here and there. But, we always keep it going. And this is our favourite time of year, We look forward to March.
And it's impressive, 20 years to be running the same, running and still be, one of the staples of our area. I mean, it's that's nothing to be shy about.
Yeah, it's true. And even, the pandemic, or whatever you want to call it, there was a bit of a lull in the middle where, people were a little nervous about gatherings, and took a hit on the music, and the musicians took a big hit,
Sure.
Those who relied on more, I'm lucky enough to do other things as well as music, but some of them who relied 100% on it, got hammered during that time. So rebuilding it all, and coming back into the scene, I have to say, the Irish bars really do a lot of music, even so, some more than others, down in Plymouth, we got even the Italian place has some Irish music.
So in that, before we dive into you, Steve, let's do a rundown of what's going on around the area in March. All, like you said, there's a vibrant music scene for Irish culture. So what's happening on the South Shore over the next month?
So as we had a discussion on the last episode, we got the Cape Cod Irish Festival on March 7th, 8th, and 9th. Like we said, it's basically a 3-day cruise, courtesy of Pat McDonough and everybody down at the Irish Village. One of the biggest festivals at this point that happens during this time of year in our area. So all of that happens with the biggest one being the Cape Cod St. Patrick's Day Parade that happens on the 8th, So
Yep.
we got that to start with.
And then we got running into that further up in the South Shore. Situate and Abington have their St. Patrick's Day parades on the 16th. Huge celebrations. Great excuse to make a weekend of it. Bring the families along, see what's going around Situate, going on in Abington. The Abington parade's been a highlight since its first year there, that the Plymouth AOH shall be marching it this year, isn't it?
Yep.
Yep. And then other great events going on in March that we have yet to be informed about. So it's a great opportunity for people to reach out and let us know what's going on. And we're happy to share that.
Definitely. If anyone has any information that of any events that we're not covering, definitely reach out to us and we can share it on social, share it with our membership, and get it out to the public. But beyond the parades, there's also a ton of live music happening all over the South Shore. The High Kings come and play Plymouth Memorial Hall on Wednesday the 12th. On the 15th, the Irish Cultural Center up at Canton has their entire Family Day, which is an all-day celebration. It's a great venue for the kids and families and everything else. We've brought the young ones up there before, and it's all geared for them. So, and their pub is still open. So that's nice. Towards the end of the month, our own Mayflower Brewery right here in Plymouth, they run their St. Patrick's Day 5K, which has been a staple for a good couple of years now. And then we also have local pubs like Dillon's here in Plymouth, JP Ryan's, Tinker's up in Norwell that are doing their usual hosting Irish sessions throughout the month, along with the big days that they'll have on the weekend of the St. Patrick's Day and on the 17th.
So on that, where are you going to be, Mike, and where are the AOH going to be?
So you'll be able to find our division starting the month down at the Cape Cod Festival. We'll have a table down there, greeting people as they're walking in and selling raffle tickets and giving out information on what we do and how you can become involved. We'll be marching in the Abington Parade. That, like you said, Sean, that'll be the first year that we've done that, and we're excited to do that for a new venue. And then we always top it off with this year, with it being on a Monday, on the 16th and the 17th, we will be set up at East Bay Grill in Plymouth Harbor. We do that every year. They're very gracious about giving us a table, and we set up. We give people information about us. We sell our raffle tickets because it's our annual St. Patrick's Day raffle that we sell tickets for, and we pull the winning ticket that night of St. Patrick's Day at the East Bay Grill. It's a cheap $10, and it gets you a possible prize. So we'll have those on us no matter where you see us over the course of the month of March.
Any teases on the prize yet?
Well, there's $1,000. Yeah. I mean, that'll get you a plane ticket.
Yep.
That's how I think of it. It'll get you a plane ticket.
That's
so, but yeah, that's the big one. $1,000 first prize, $250 for second. And yeah, we've had some.
So you've got either a flight covered or at least your bar tab for St. Patrick's Day cleared.
Exactly.
Then you're set.
Exactly.
All right. So I think at this stage, Steve's been sitting here. It's time to dive in a little bit and actually learn a bit more about everything you've been doing, keeping the ties back home and pushing Irish culture here through music.
Yeah, certainly. Like obviously music's a big part of the culture, and be it a ballad singer or a trad player, you know what I mean? We all get along and embrace it, And it's nice to be around venues like you've just mentioned, like the Irish Cultural Centre in Canton, and it's nice to see the sport up there as well, still being played. And
oh yeah,
they also offer a lot of programs up there, with the Gaelic language and like sports and some of the singing as well. They have sessions on Friday, I believe. And
so with you, Steve, how'd you get stuck into the music?
Well, that goes back a few years in Dublin,
let's go back. Sorry, we can go
Listen,
back.
we can talk about the Belfast-Dublin corridor the whole way, so we'll just throw it in.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously, I think anyone from Ireland, like I'm sure yourself, be it Belfast or Dublin, grow up with a couple of songs in you anyway, and whether you sung them with your family, your siblings, or whatever you might, have. So the songs came before the guitar, you know what I mean? So, and then, I dabbled a little bit of, maybe 12, 13, dabbled with the guitar. I think it was like the customary 10 lessons, you know what I mean? And it was a bit of a chore and whatever from, I think, to get there, from my mother to get me there or whatever. But, I just kind of put it, I was playing sports. I was camping. I was involved with the Scouts in Ireland, so we were camping all over Ireland and doing different things. So I didn't always have time, But then later on, with the singing always maintained through it, But then, I think I picked it up around 17, 18 and learned kind of learned myself from there. You know what I mean? Just kind of practiced and kept singing. And
how
playing.
much did you perform in Dublin before you came over?
Oh, quite a lot. Yeah, we had, so our stomping ground. I'm from Raheny in Dublin, and
okay,
not too far. We used to do, there was a lot of actually music in Raheny, believe it or not. And anyone remembers the old Sheelan Hotel, but we could go down on a Saturday night and see, the Fury Brothers or Jim McCann.
Oh, cool.
The Dubliners played there.
Oh, wow.
I mean, everyone played there, So it was a big venue. And but our Howth was our stomping ground. So it was the fishing village a couple of miles away, And there was a lot of great pubs and trad sessions and singing sessions and shanty sessions and whatever you like,
Nice.
But, and a good turnover of people, because you could catch people from the area or people who visit for the day or people who come from the city on the train. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
I think that's a big part about Irish music. I see all the time is, you can walk in with your instrument, you walk in with your voice, and if there's a session going on, you dive right in. And it sets things up. It's just the great aspect of that community.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes there's a whole science to it all as well. So, you know what I mean? You kind of see the lay of the land first and, But
it is welcoming. I mean, I remember when we were over last spring and my family's out of Galway and I spent the night in the Crane and you would see people come in and not necessarily Irish, like people that are just musicians that would come in and they would want to join and open arms.
Oh yeah, no, that's it. And, that's how, there is the deep, sense of tradition and the tunes are played like the tunes should be played, but then, there's people that, come in from different influences and take it out there and that's fine too. It's just different, but what's always maintained and it's really unlike, there's not a lot of cultures out there that have maintained the music tradition for so long. And the reason, it's such a vibrant scene and the Fla every year and the kids here who compete and then go to the Fla. So, it's a big dash from that to the Dublin pubs singing ballad sessions on a Sunday afternoon in Howth, you know what I mean? But, but we actually, we had a regular session on a Monday night in the Lighthouse in Howth, and the Pier House was another Friday night session where we myself and a couple of friends, and even when I left for America, another friend of mine stepped in on guitar, and the other guys kept it going until later on. Actually, one of the pubs is still there, and one of them was knocked down for condos. Yeah.
Oh yeah, housing.
Yep. So 20 years, give or take, here. How have you seen the
I've been 30 years
30
here,
years.
But in Plymouth,
So 20 on the South Shore, right?
The South,
so 20 on the South Shore area. How have you seen the Irish music scene change over that time?
It's definitely grown, and we've had a couple of new places that to actually further down like Dillon's here, the East Bay Grill, and even like Martini's there. There's 3 places where there's regular Irish music in our town. Tinker's Son is up in Norwell there. That was always been a style. And I think actually, Brian Hewland has been a great supporter. I think he's had a session on there on a Wednesday night, Stewie Peak and a couple of the lads.
Oh yeah, for a long time.
So he, even it mightn't always be the fullest because, you can't do it all the time, but he's maintained that that's how important the music is and especially in the local area that, helps, so, and then right down to the Cape,
Oh yeah. And like you talk about the several places in Plymouth. I mean, one thing that especially as, being Hibernians and everything else, the thing that I really see and you being down here for as long as you have is that the population of the culture is here. That's why I think you have places that aren't traditional Irish pubs that'll still invite groups like yours to come in and play is because they know there's a market. Even though we might not have a traditional Irish pub in town, there's still the market for it and establishments know that.
Exactly, yeah. And, for myself, I play locally, but I also play all the way, from Boston to the Cape and like Weymouth I play, and Tinkers, like you say, and then the Red Rose and the Dubliner and a few other spots. And we just, it's great to be able to do it. And it's great that there's a demand for Irish music out there,
And like you were saying, like Brian Houlihan is a great promoter with regards to offering support. And then we talked with Pat McDonough on our last episode about Oran McGonigal and what he's doing with regards to open up the Dubliner. And he just opened McGonigal's. And a lot of that is
Emmett's in downtown.
He's got the cottage up in Weymouth as well.
The cottage in Weymouth. I mean, that's if it wasn't for guys like that to offer the even more support to give a venue, know.
So I've been a big supporter and actually part of the Sunday session, which Oran and the guys and Mickey Feeney and those guys have supported every Sunday afternoon, unless, sometimes they bring bands out from Ireland and then the session might be changed, the time, or they might not have it that day because they have, enough people over there to be too tight. But I've been involved there with Kevin Daly and a few of the guys, Paddy.
Oh, yeah.
And like I say, Oran, he keeps it going every Sunday, you know what I mean? And for years, and, it's great to have supporters like that locally. And I mean, they've actually won, a lot of awards lately for how their food is, and not just about the music and bringing up Irish culinary kind of,
I've always said that one of the biggest horrible stereotypes is the fact that all us Irish people eat is potatoes, and we can't cook a good meal.
Fairness, we still like our spuds.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm never turning away a plate of spuds, but at the same time, never knew what a boiled dinner was until I came over here. So that's something that's you Boston Irish aspect. No clue.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that.
So Steve, as well, obviously March is going to be a busy time for anyone Irish, but musicians in particular. Do you get any type of break, or are you just flat out with events?
Yeah, I mean, because your weekends are certainly taken up in March because, it starts, a couple of weeks before St. Patrick's and runs right the way through it and after it around. So happy to be, and then it dies back to whatever, but it's like, it's great to be part. It brings the culture up again and I don't know how many people claim Irish heritage in America, but I think it's, in fairly high numbers, you know what I mean?
In this area.
And so it gives every year, they come out and embrace it, and we all get together and have a bit of fun and sing a few songs and raise money for charities and do whatever else involved, and it's nice, and see a bit of the culture,
Oh yeah. Now, has there, you talk about like who you've seen, who you got to see when you were younger in Dublin. Is there one musician that you've seen that tops them all, though?
Well, you got to say Christy Moore. I mean, I mean, if you're a ballad singer and you like ballads, and he's still going strong.
Oh,
an ambassador, for the tradition, absolutely. And you know what? It's about the songs and keeping the songs going and keeping getting them sung, and that's the history. That's how we tell our history, is through our songs. So
sure.
And we sing some sad ones too. We sing a couple of angry ones, and we sing, we give it a mixed bag, and then obviously enjoy all the jigs and reels and trad and whatever else we got going on,
Sure.
Yeah.
But so you're going to be down at the Cape Cod Festival.
Yes, and that's I'd be with the Old Brigade and Danny Gill and the Old Brigade, and I've been playing with those guys for over 20 years also, on and off, and Danny's a great character in the scene.
Oh, he's got a lot of presence on the stage.
He does, So I'm actually, playing with him this weekend, but he's a good guy. And so we're there, and you have your stall there, and then they have a lot of different, they've the dancers down there as well, all the different schools.
Pat was saying they have a country band coming in to kind of cap everything off this year.
Yeah, so, and that's good to have that. And, sometimes they have a rock and roll band, country band, whatever they try, he does different things. Pat's a great organizer in the scene, and usually, his events go pretty well. I was recently at the Whistling Donkeys there a while ago, and I see he's doing it again in March. So
he's bringing them back in. Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
So obviously, Christie's a big focus. You know, who would you say is your obscure go-to that maybe not a lot of people listening would have heard of?
Well, Wally Page was I sing a lot of his songs. I'm actually, Christie recorded a lot of his songs, so people think, oh, it's a Christie song, which is a Wally Page song. And, you know, I was lucky enough, as I say, to grow up in Dublin, north side of Dublin. And Wally was from Finglas, but he lived in town. He lived down the street from my aunt, actually, or great aunt. But and he still, you know, pretty much kept going. He had, around the North Strand area or the inner city, he was with, you know, various bands and involved in the scene for a long time. So he'd be definitely out there, you know. And his partner was Johnny Mulhern. So Wally and Johnny, rock on forever.
And is there anyone you're listening to now that's, say, up and coming from back home?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. You know, I listen to a bunch of stuff. You know, I guess I don't know. I was at Solus the other night, which were great, and they've been going for 30 years. So I'm still listening to the old guys as well. And sometimes it's all right, you know.
Well, that's, you know, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah. But no, you know, I mean, obviously, I kind of enjoyed the resurgence of the ballad scene, which there seems to be a lot more singers and stuff coming out now. You know, all whose names escape me right now. But
I think the aspect there's no shortage of who you can find to listen to. You know, there's entry music, which Christie is always a great entry to go into. If you're going to start with the best, and then spread out from there. Yeah,
right. You're right, and there's a lot of, you know, great, like I say, trad bands who sing, you know, sing a couple of songs and do a lot of trad. Then there's a lot of ballad bands, and you know, just go for the mix, you know. And then there's world matter, you know. You got Lunas taking out there, you know, on the trad, and you know, you got, I don't know, you got John Doyle and, you know, Macaulay, all these guys that come locally into town. In the Spire, you know, is another great venue for a lot of Irish music, and it's right downtown. It's definitely one of my favourite venues with one of the best sound. And shout out to Ed McGee there who does that, you know, and a few of the lads, you know. Yeah,
they also did a great job on that. I mean, it looks beautiful. The outside matches the inside now. It's a great venue to see someone.
It really is. Yeah. And Bob Hollis was the man who was the local guy in town, really, you know, pushed to get that going on the ground, and got a lot of people on board that helped out and really kept it going. And the town funded it, and it just, you know, it's been a great asset, you know. You can get everything from bluegrass to Irish to rock and roll to jazz, you know. So it's,
and like you were saying, I mean, then there's the acts that come and play at Plymouth Memorial. I mean, there's just, you know, they, like I said, we mentioned it, the High Kings are coming and they'll be playing at Plymouth Memorial. The Tenors have played there. I mean, it's just
so the Irish Comedy Tour is there on the 16th of March.
Yeah,
and
Derek Keane, he's a local.
Derek Keane is there. So actually myself and Derek could be playing Dylan's on St. Patrick's night, 7 till 10.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
great.
He's been on the band. You know, he had a band called Inchicore for a long time.
Oh yeah.
He changed. You know, he's still playing locally in the area and down as far. Where was he? Yeah, he's recently down Rhode Island. A few. You know, so he's a great singer. Like I say, in and out of town and in local areas, we have a lot of great bands coming in and out. You know, and. Also, so you guys will be there, East Bay
at the
Grill,
East Bay,
right?
Yeah, we'll be there.
So we're there 1 till 6, and maybe we'll pull some raffle tickets for you.
There you go.
We got Maureen Haley. Usually, you know, her dancers come in that day, you know, and she's been a great.
Are you guys playing the full day there?
1 till 6.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah.
That's a decent set that you're going to get through. So
yeah. You get to see all the different people that come in and out. You know what I mean? And sometimes the demographics change, whether it's earlier or later in the day. You know?
Oh yeah, they definitely. You can see it. You can definitely see a transition happen. Yeah. I've been at our table for a whole day there before, and you can see the transition. Yeah.
And then that evening after we, you know, get off at 6, then there's a quick transition, and there's like a rock band, really good band, like whose name escapes me now as well. But anyway, so it keeps going that night, and as I said, we're there both days, on the Sunday and the Monday, you know.
Gotcha.
And that's the thing. Locally, I've noticed in the last, say, 10 years that it's a weekend event whenever it can be, or it's a multiple day event. Whereas, you know, obviously, evacuation day is St. Patrick's Day also, right? We've enjoyed that over the years. And so it depends what day that falls on, you know?
That's it, yeah. It was convenient it worked that way, wasn't it? You know?
Yeah.
So the other question I would have for you, more of like going back, is when you first came over. So what was that like when you first came over?
Well, that was actually, I actually went to New York City first.
Really?
Yes. So when I'd been working, I had a steady job working in Ireland. It was, at the time, they were offering visas, you know. And there was first the Donnelly and then the Morrison. Or was it vice versa? Anyway, but so they were offering 10 to 15,000 visas a year. They were looking for workers to come out here, skilled workers and different, various. So I was part of that thing, and it was, you rolled into a lottery, and that was, probably 92 or 93. And if you got picked, out of the lottery, then you went through like a year-long process to, apply for the green card. And you had a sponsor here, you had to have a certain amount of account, you had to have have full physical, everything, And I had my green card before I got here. So,
oh, wow.
I landed in, New York City, May 21st, 1994. And
it's just in time for the World Cup as well.
That's right. You know what I mean? You have to plan things out. You know what I mean, Sean? So anyway, I arrived, and I had a cousin in Brooklyn. And sounds like a Liam Riley song. No, so I had a cousin in Brooklyn, but unfortunately she was doing exams around that time in May. So I couldn't stay with her for the first couple of weeks. So believe it or not, we ended up staying in a hostel in Spanish Harlem, I think it was, 103 in Amsterdam. Which, let me tell you, lads, in 1994, it wasn't Hollywood, let's say that. And it was like, so out of the hostel, you could look down the corner, there's a bodega down there, and loads of lads walking around with drinking something out of a brown paper bag. I don't know what that was. But anyway, so it was pretty sketchy for a couple of weeks, and we finally went off and landed down the cousin, and she put us up for a while, and I got an apartment in Brooklyn, and a friend of mine, he was a plumber from Guinness's, and he worked in the city doing plumbing. I worked Westchester doing something else. And then I ended up working in, for a freight company or something in Brooklyn. And anyway, I stuck, for a while. But I think that Thanksgiving, I came up and visited Boston for.
Oh, so you weren't in New York long?
No.
Okay.
And I just visited that weekend, and I liked it. And I just kind of liked the pace a little more. And
so you come over here, you go to New York, you visit here, you're smitten. So eventually you come up, but did you were you playing in New York before you came up here?
I wasn't really playing a lot, you know what I mean? I had my guitar all right, but I wasn't really out playing. I was like mostly enjoying watching the other rock bands and stuff like that at the time playing, and like at that stage, I don't know, New York City, the band was coming on at 3 a.m. for their last set,
Oh, yeah.
So it was, there was a couple of, I guess, there was a couple of sessions you had to travel in, to Manhattan or up to McLean, the Bronx or wherever, for all it. In Brooklyn, I don't, there was a couple of ballad bands and stuff, but I don't remember there being a lot of trad or anything like that. But anyway, I stuck that out, and I think I moved to Boston the following year in like February or March. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then I bounced around Boston a little bit and been here ever since.
There you go. Okay, not to put you on the spot, but it's always Boston versus New York. Who do you think has the better trad scene right now?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know enough about the New York trad scene to.
Okay, let's say back to that.
But I do know that Boston.
Boston then.
Yeah, Boston has a really,
it's automatic.
really great trad scene. I mean, right up there. There's a lot of great players, and I get to bump into them in the Dubliner. They're in Emmett's, they're in the Burren, they're in.
And they're younger.
The
That's
Druids,
the thing.
and they're in like. What's the other one, Tommy? What's the one over by Berkeley? I can't even remember the name of that bar. But there are trads everywhere in town. Emmett's, it's Mr. Dooley's downtown.
And it could be a younger crowd.
It is, yeah, it is, and it is a lot of younger. And you know, you got a lot of even Berkeley grads coming out doing Irish music and end up in the scene. You know, Elias is one of those guys, and
Yep.
Dave Try, our own South Shore. I tried to get Dave here, he couldn't.
Oh, I know. I've been in touch with him. We're going to get him on at some point.
Yeah, he's a great. He bounces around. He plays, and he's been local, and you know, he's part of that whole scene too. You know, so it's great.
Yeah, and it feels like right now anything that opens, whether it's on the South Shore or up, I mean, another perfect example would be in Adams Village at Scobie's. You know, that place opened up and automatically they have a young trad, you know, session that's going on there. So it's just, yeah, you really can't. I mean, we always say when we're talking with people and they talk about the South Shore that you could find a session almost every night of the week if you went looking for it on the South Shore.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, you know, you can definitely find music where you look, you know what I mean? And then, you know, a lot of the sessions are open, so, you know, the musicians bounce around, you know? So you never know who you're going to meet, you know?
Right.
And like I say, with that, you got all the bands as well that are playing, you know? You got Devry and you got Bobby Mullis and they got the Boston's Aaron Oak and all those guys, you know? Danny Gill, the Old Brigade, and Aaron's Guild. And he has quite a number. Down at the down Cape Cod, there's quite a big lineup.
Oh, he's got a big list. Yeah.
So getting back to St. Patrick's Day itself, outside of playing, what's your day look like? What's your ideal St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah, you know, it's sometimes it's a blur because especially if you're playing all day, you're rushing, worrying about sound. You know, your head's in the game hours before you actually get to play, and trying to make sure you know, the kids are where they need to be and everything else that needs to happen that day. You know, and you know, to even spend some time with them and you know, so make sure they're part of the cultural thing. You know, as well. You know, and you know. Like my kids have been visiting Ireland for a long time. We're getting to go back again this summer. Looking forward to that. And
great.
You know, just you know, that's how we keep the tradition going. You know, pass it on to the next generation. Yeah. But a full Irish in me first. You know.
So I got one question that I've been asking. I say all the guests. We're on episode 2, but whatever.
That exhaustive list that we've gone through so far.
Yeah. Is there one tradition that you've tried to keep alive since you've come back to make sure, like you just said, about keeping connections and traditions with your kids going and everything else? Is there a tradition that you make a point of keeping alive and doing with them?
Well, I think you know, we always wear the colours anyway on the day. You know,
right?
Yeah. But you know, I don't know. Sometimes we'll cook some food. You know what I mean? That we associate with that, I guess.
Are any of the kids taking your step and doing the music thing?
Yeah, I mean, my daughter, she's a little older now. She's actually up in Berkeley and Boston herself. And,
oh wow!
So she's in the music. She's a singer and she can play piano and guitar and sing along to it. So
oh wow!
She, you know,
talented.
It's she hasn't exactly opened up her Irish repertoire to me yet, you know. So, but she's kind of like I told her, you're going back to Ireland, you're going to have at least 1 or 2 party songs there, you know, in the bag, something in the bag, right?
Sounds like someone's going to be putting her on the spot at some point.
And young Liam plays the drums, so
okay,
yeah, and he can sing a song, although he's more into rapping than he is.
Oh, that's like mine.
No, that's all right. Kneecap coming to play then. Yeah, gets them going.
Yeah, they're coming.
I haven't actually have you got to see them, Sean? Or?
I haven't got to see them yet, but I know they're coming out in October or November, I think I saw.
Yeah.
So we'll put that in. Plenty of people back home have seen them. It's that aspect, it's different, but you've seen the surge in interest in language again, based around that, especially with younger kids. So it definitely opens up new doors.
Yeah. And talking about language, I mean, that's another thing that just has really, I feel like, just like the music scene, there's a thirst for that now in our area as well. I mean, they're constantly having classes and, open Gael talks and stuff like that to keep the language, would not keep it alive, actually bring it back.
Right. And actually locally here, we have an Irish Studies program at Bridgewater State University. I've been involved with those guys over the years, and actually we're doing an event there in April with Paddy Boland on flute and Ted, myself.
Oh, that's great.
And so anyone can get involved in the area. You can do these things and at night, and just what I mean. It's good connection locally to learn the language. Just language classes, history classes, different stuff over there in Bridgewater. So
yeah,
we do have access to it here locally. It's only less than half an hour ride from Plymouth or most places on the South Shore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then Plymouth is one of I think it's the only town on the South Shore that both Plymouth North and South both offer like an Irish history elective. And I think that I know the individual that teaches it for North, and he always raves about the interest. People, the kids don't take the class just to kind of sit there and just get through a semester. Like, they actually are engaged.
Right.
So,
and I think, the South Shore is embracing this Irish history. I mean, look at the Heritage Trail that runs all the way down now. Even in Plymouth, there we were involved with the AOH. They're going to put a granite stone down there, right in town. Right, we're calling that Heritage just off Emerald Street.
That's a great transition. We can talk about that.
Yeah.
So what Steve is bringing up is that as part of the Irish South Shore Irish Heritage Trail, they found spotlights of Irish history all on the South Shore. What they found was a little neighborhood on the waterfront in Plymouth back in the 1800s was known as Dublin because of the mass immigration.
Why do you think I brought it up now?
Yeah. Because of just how everybody who came over from Ireland that ended up in Plymouth ended up in this area. It was something that we took a lot of interest in, and we did some research, which was fascinating. We talked about it on the last episode with the folks here from the trail. If there's any kid that really, this sounds nerdy as all heck, but if you have a kid that's interested in history, what the town of Plymouth has at their library is it's immeasurable. Like the history records they have and the census, and everything else. We were able to go back easily into the 1800s and go over the actual names and families that were living in that neighborhood at that time.
That's great.
And so we were able to take that information and put a proposal together and present it to the town. And the town approved it. We went in front of select board and the monument committee, and that was approved. And Steve was actually part of a group that we took on a walking tour along with the Consul General of Ireland and other local officials and people that are engaged with it. And we're raising money right now. That's going to be one of the big things when we're at East Bay Grill the weekend of St. Patrick's Day. We're going to try to bring a mock-up of the sign we're going to put up. Nice. And we're going to be raising money for it. We've kind of tagged it Dollars for Dublin, and we'll see how that takes us. And so at East Bay Grill, and in addition to selling raffle tickets, we'll be trying to raise money for that as well. And we have a relationship that we just made with the Plymouth Chamber of Commerce. And I'm hoping that, getting the business community involved and engaged will turn into some donations as well, so we can get that up and moving. So,
nice.
Yeah. But we're excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited. But like you said, it's just there. It's there. You just, if you look for it, like the history is there and you can engage with it. And we're hoping that when the sign goes up, it's not just something you'll be able to read about. It's something you'll be able to show up and actually grasp.
Right, and it'll be part of when people visit the tourist board downtown. It's part of you can look up and go visit the site and the Irish Heritage Trail.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Yeah.
People from other destinations come and follow that trail all the way up to the North Shore.
Yeah,
so
and speaking of the trail, another segue. I was informed by them today that on Wednesday, I got it written in my notes. Or are they on your notes?
They were on my notes, yep.
Okay.
You're right there.
So on Wednesday, March 26th, the Social Irish Heritage Trail is going to run a fundraiser at Tinker's Son up in Norwell from 6 to 9. It's the same night as their session that they run on Wednesdays. And they're going to have free apps and information about the trail. It's a cash bar, but a $30 donation gets you in the door, and you can help the trail out, try to get them into that next phase that they're talking about. And I really do think it's a good cause. They have a good plan in place. And I think now it's just being able to do things like we're doing in Plymouth, like put physical memorials in those spaces, you know? So I'm excited for them.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yep. So, Steve, how would you wrap up?
Well, I'll tell you where I'm playing for the
There we go. That was going to be the next thing. Do you want to put a plug where you're going to be playing?
The other thing I do, you were asking me earlier, what does this time of year? I mean, we all have to remember about the rising. It just this time of year we think about that and the songs and stuff that are associated with that. Which brings me to my next. I don't know. You're a teacher. Are you familiar with Mr. Hales?
I am.
The local history teacher here in Plymouth. But I just got a chuckle out of a few times. So he's enacted the whole, Easter rising through. He gets involved with the students. They take the parts of all the different signees. And they've used the post office downtown.
Oh, really?
Sometimes.
Yeah,
does he wear the Pierce hat?
No, just to reiterate, you know what I mean? Locally at the level, at least, I feel there's more recognition, certainly in the 20 years since I've moved to town, I feel like, at this point, the Irish have been here a while, but now we're having these little markers to show the history that,
And Jeremy's really excited about what he does. I mean, we've had him speak at one or two of our events.
I was actually at one of those in Situate and I enjoyed it. Yeah.
So that is great. I would love him to kind of make that known when that's going to happen, so that everybody can show up.
Sometimes it gets him in a lot of trouble.
Well, again, that's fitting with the rising then, so it just makes sense. So where are we going to see you over the next month? Where are you playing?
So I'll be in the East Bay Grill on the 15th and 16th. We're in the Red Rose on the 22nd. Let me see. I have a couple of private ones that they're not even. I'm with Danny Gill down in the Irish Village. And, I can't think of any more right now. But, I'll be around, as I say. And we're always locally, just we play on every first Monday in Martini's and every third Monday of the month in Dillon's local. So you can get your Irish music in downtown Plymouth twice a month.
Two great spots as well. If anyone hasn't had a chance to hit either of those places, you're missing out. And so you've got the nights when to hit them. So first Monday of the month and third Monday of the month. Excellent.
And support our local sessions up. And, we got Wednesday night up in Tinker's and Sunday afternoons in the cottage, So.
And again, if nobody's ever had a chance to go to a session, you are missing out. So it's definitely a great chance to see, musicians come together and putting something special together. Excellent. I think that's going to wrap up this episode of Craic on the Coast.
I think you're right, Sean.
And
that's
hopefully,
the crack.
Well, that is the crack right there. And just want to make sure everyone listening, be sure to follow us wherever you get your podcasts from. Keep up with us on social media for any updates, upcoming episodes, as well as everything related to AOH and the month of St. Patrick's Day. And we'll just call it St. Patrick's Month at this stage for what it is.
There you go. And don't forget, it's a month-long celebration. So get out there, support local musicians like Steve, attend an event.
Oh, come here. I forgot about Dylan's local St. Patrick's night as well, 7 till 10.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. We got one more in before the light goes off. So, like Steve said, get out there, enjoy the Craic, and we'll see you next time, folks.
All right. Go to my old Steve.
All right.
All right. Sláinte, folks.
Slán.
Slán.